Hello everyone and welcome to the final episode of News Summaries. Now, 5 months, 20 weeks. You must be wondering if I'm going to do something special for this. Well, it's not exactly special, but it is different. I'm going to be revisiting my top 5 stories for the last 5 months. I've whittled it down to some of the 5 most controversial, important, inspiring in stories I've covered, and I'm going to be revisiting them and letting you know any differences, anything that's changed because of them, and any subsequent knock-on effects they've had. So let's get straight into it, starting with the first one. Do excuse me for looking over at the iPad a little bit today. These are quite dense and I made quite a lot of notes. It's taken a while to go back through previous articles, read from different sources about things, about these stories in particular. So I've got a little bit of reading to do, but that's fine. So firstly is the food parcel scandal from the 10th of January, where Chartwells, which is owned by the Compass Group, distributed thousands of inadequate food parcels to families. Upon reflection, this story made me, and maybe even some of you, realise 2 main things. Firstly, the government has a very traditional conservative worldview of people who struggle to make ends meet, as some backbenchers incorrectly discriminatory and collectively assume that those who need food vouchers live in crack dens and brothels, and that's a quote for Ben Bradley, who's the Conservative MP for Nottinghamshire, rather than recognising the key driver of child poverty is jobs that pay parents too little to support families. Secondly, the Conservative Party have slashed tax credits for low-income parents by thousands a year, at the same time as spending billions on tax cuts for more affluent households, pushing unemployment benefits to its lowest since the 1990s from April. Personally, I feel it's a disgusting lens through which to view people in low-paid work, many who are doing essential jobs that at the moment we're all heavily relying on in the pandemic still. Now, from the 7th of February, I discussed that the government and medical professionals are asking for the public opinion on whether 2 progesterone pills, known as mini pills, should be available without prescription. Well, I have some good news because I can announce that the consultation period has ended now. I still cannot find any concrete evidence indicating that it's happening, but anything regarding drugs takes considerable time to pass. So I'll be surprised if from the moment it was launched, the consultation, to now, you can buy these drugs over the counter, so it may still take considerable time. But anyway, the findings of the consultation period go as follows. The Medicines and Health Products Regulatory Agency, the MHRA, concluded that there was strong support from all stakeholders for making DSG to be available to purchase from pharmacies, in addition to being available through sexual health clinics and GPs via prescription. Pharmacy support will be introduced also from pharmacy training guides, providing pharmacists with information for the safe use of the Levoma pill, ensuring it is only supplied to suitable women with appropriate counselling and advice. Moving on to story number 3. Ever since NASA's Perseverance mission landed on Mars on the 18th of February, I've been fascinated with its progress. I've also covered it on the 18th of April as it made oxygen out of carbon dioxide. I don't know if you remember using the MOXIE unit that I was talking about. A month on from the landing, I have some findings to share with you. Kenneth Fadley, who's a geochemist at the California Institute of Technology, has said everything is going great so far. Perseverance has used a laser-based instrument to determine that several rocks, including 2, are chemically similar to basaltic rocks on Earth, which are formed of molten rock. This has also uncovered that one of these rocks shows no signs of water locked up in them. This is different to water that was locked up in the core of the planet, which I also touched on before, as scientists use GIS and modelling to replicate Mars's makeup. These discoveries fit with what scientists were expecting, that it might have a volcanic rocks on the crater floor, which could have interacted with water over time. Many rocks around the landing site have been sculpted by strong winds. The winds have scored the rocks mainly from the northwest, a direction that matches the major wind patterns calculated by global circulation models for Mars. Story number 4 now. That sounded a bit like the M&S self-service checkouts, I think. I don't know if any of you know those. Don't worry about that. From the 28th of March, I have some more recommendations and results from the government's controversial Commission Race Report, which found the UK was no longer systemically racist. I'm going to list each recommendation now that came out of this report, as I think it's important we are all aware of these so we can see if they're being implemented or not. Recommendation 1. Challenge racist and discriminatory actions. Number 2. Review the Cars Quality Commission's CQC inspection process. Number 3. Improve the transparency and use of artificial intelligence. Number 4. Bridge divides and create partnerships between the police and communities. Number 5, improve training to provide police officers with practical skills to interact with communities. Number 6, replicate the factors of educational success for all communities. Number 7, invest in proven interventions through better targeted funding. Number 8, advance fairness in the workplace. Number 9, investigate what causes existing ethnic pay disparities. Number 10, improve understanding of the ethnicity pay gap in NHS England. Number 11, establish an office for health disparities. Number 12, prevent harm, reduce crime and divert young people away from the criminal justice system. Number 13, build social and cultural capital, enrichment for all. Number 14, increase legitimacy and accountability of stop and search through body-worn video. Number 15, empower pupils to make more informed choices to fulfil their future potential. Number 16, open up access to apprenticeships. Number 11, encourage innovation. Number 18, improve safety and support for children at risk. Number 19, undertake a support for families review. Number 20, making of modern Britain, teaching an exclusive curriculum. Number 21, create police workforces that represent the communities they serve. Number 22, equip the police service to serve the needs of their local communities. Number 23, use data in a responsible and informed way. Number 24, disaggregate the term BAME, B-A-M-E of course. If you'd like to read the full report or read the small 4-line accompanying text, I guess, that goes with each one of these recommendations, then simply go to Google and type in Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities Report, click on the top gov.uk search result, click on that and then click on Summary of Recommendations and you will find all of them listed there. Moving on to my top story number 5 for this episode. It was my top story last week and I'm pleased to announce a ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas on the Gaza Strip has come into effect. The ceasefire began early on Friday, bringing to an end 11 days of fighting in which more than 250 people were killed. As I said last week, the majority of them in Gaza, sadly. The Israeli Political Security Cabinet said on Thursday night it had unanimously accepted the recommendation. And that is technically it. That is the end of news summaries. I really hope you've enjoyed these. I really hope they've helped you digest the news. As my bio says, it was my goal from the outset to make news more interesting, more informative, and more targeted and specific at the same time. So I really hope it's done that for you. I've just got one final word on the media and the news as a whole. One thing I certainly learned through doing this, the world is incredibly dynamic, and as is the news, and it just makes that news even more important with the world's ever-changing state. There's just such a sheer mass of news that sifting through it to find the true news is always going to be a problem in the media going forward more generally. And one thing I advise you all to do is to be questionable. Ask yourself where your news is coming from, who's written it, whose voices are coming through, and whose are absent. Because it's the voices of those that are absent that are sometimes the most important. And just before I leave you, let's have a quick recap of how far this series has come. And thank you for watching. Oh, who am I kidding? Podcast is much easier to make anyway.